All right. Welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers.
Nice. My wife wanted to do. I asked my wife to do that. I enjoyed that. I hope you did too. So you can see it on the screen. We're going to talk about LASE. I will be honest with you. This has actually been my stock of the quarter. I have no idea what, but I made a pretty big move right here in late August. I'm going to show you why, and then it's just I have so much on my mind. I'm excited to talk about this one for sure. I'll try not to go too deep. All right. The one I want to look at after is GRRR. All right. And hey, I gotta give love when the team drops some real good stuff. I think it was right here. Boom, it was. Okay, cool. So we were talking about GRRR as early as September 13th. You can see right around there. I remember mentioning 530 target. I think I thought 450. Did we not talk about 450? Regardless, we've been watching it. It's been doing a beautiful thing. And yeah, I'm assuming that, yeah, you can see it 520 now. But I was looking at the 200 moving average for the target there. And then if we have time, I want to talk about RR. So very interesting candle. Look, this is under all the moving averages. This is a negative MACD. RSI is not that beautiful, but there was a really interesting 1 minute spike, and it was because of an Nvidia tweet. All right, clearly ugly sell off after, but hey, it was only a tweet, but it was a tweet from Nvidia, right? So it's one of those things where, yeah, if Kramer was to ever give me a tweet about chart readers, I'd get real excited, but it's gonna get lost in the millions of other ones that he puts, and then, lo and behold, that's about it, right? So you gotta remember to take things not too overly emotional, but oh man, if Nvidia is going to talk about some random stock, the world tends to at least stop for that minute and pay attention. You know what I mean? So that's definitely what happened here, and I'll tell you what I think needs to happen for more, right? But excited to talk about all these and more, but before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There's a couple down here. You can see them. There are some horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and a volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So, look, I never mention the Discord. I feel like I'm like pimping it out. I don't really like doing that. But hey, the Discord group, there is always a link to the free group in the video. LASE. I can't tell you how much. 75 results on LASE. You can see most of them were actually me. And it starts around 8:22. I think that's what I remember. Yeah. Oh, perfect. That first page is the perfect view. So look, around 8:22 is where it started to catch my eye, and then you can see it was on the 26th where it really first caught my attention. All right. I zoomed in too much. So right around here, right around August 26th, we find ourselves making an attempt to be over all the moving averages, all right? When I zoom back out and zoom back out, first of all, LASC this thing has not been around for a very long time, all right? Obviously, it has been around for 200 days. When I go to the weekly, we have just barely, because you can see the blue 100 moving average just started a couple weeks ago. This thing has only been around for a couple hundred weeks. You know what I mean? So this is a very new stock, all right? This 260 line was basically the first, and let me just kind of zoom in so you can see it a little better. That 260 was basically the first good green candle on the IPO, as well as a couple other points. But for me, I really like the first good green candle and like a little bit of the bottom thing, right? But the IPO line tends to be a really important line, especially when it's not that long ago. You know what I mean? So 260 was a really important number. It tries to make the move. It ends up coming back to it, holding it, and that's really where it starts to get my attention. Is this the 22nd? Look at that. That's the 22nd, and that was my first actual eyes on it. You know what I mean? So again, technical analysis is never a perfect thing, right? There's no crystal ball that says it, but a few things I always say is when you can break all five, you fly, right? When I look at the first attempt of breaking it all, I'm a little shocked that these two right here didn't do more. But when you look down right here, you can see that the RSI was a little high, right? So I'm talking a little too much about the past. Let's kind of talk a little bit more about the future onward, right? So this is where it catches my attention. And when you look at that same moment, right? So let's look at where was it? The daily on the 26th, 27th. When you look at the weekly, probably around here, right? This one around here. In between these two, we're over all the moving averages on the weekly, we're over all the moving averages on the daily, and I actually did do it. I rarely do it, but I did do it. We were actually over all the moving averages on the monthly as well, right? So when you have so many different time frames looking basically the same and basically good, I mean, what more is there to do, right? And I mean, you can see it. It just kept going, it just kept going, it just kept going. There was some earnings and some ugliness, all right? That's basically what this was right here, all right? I did get stopped out. I'm a swing trader, right? I think I would have for sure made more money if I just held and kept going, right? But actually, nonetheless, didn't do too bad. And this is not about me, right? This is about how you repeat this going forward, because trust me, this is gonna keep happening all the time, right? So my stop loss definitely takes me out on this earnings. I don't know exactly where, but that was basically my first move, maybe somewhere like right here. Let me just guess that, okay? It wasn't too long after, though. Give me a second. LASE round. Give me a second. Round two. Couple other round twos. Get out of here. Okay. So I know I put it somewhere, maybe it was somewhere else. This right here was basically my round two. And if I'm not mistaken, I probably sold either at the top of this candle or the bottom of this one. I'm really, really not too sure. I probably bought either at the end of the day, maybe completely up here, maybe somewhere around right here. But this was my round two entry, right? This is where we start to regain more than 50% of this big scary candle, right? By the day end, we basically regained what you can say 80%, right? So first move here, you lose some lines, but really you don't even lose. I haven't even talked about bouncing on the 8 and the 20 yet. Like there's still a bunch of things I want to talk about. I want to stress this is what all-time highs looks like. This is what all-time highs does. Once we broke that, it was game over. And I mean, it's an 82 RSI. That's definitely a little on the high side. And I did actually sell a little bit today. 33%. I sold 33% a little bit today. Truth be told, this 18 closed higher than where I sold my 33%, right? So am I sad about that? No, not really, right? I still have 66 that kept going up. And hey, believe me, if it went down, I would have been really happy that I sold that 33, right? So it's never about hitting the most and all that, all right? So what needs to happen next, okay? So couple things in terms of next. What you really need to do, look, let me start with this, okay? I'm never here to tell you buy, sell, hold. You know that, right? When you're in all-time high, okay, right? There are no more educated lines that I can draw, right? Like there's no reason for me to draw a line at 23 versus 21 versus anything, right? There's actually no information above this. So what you got to do is you got to start coming down a little bit. I'm looking at the hourly. Right? So today's hourly, we never lose the 8 moving average. When we go even smaller than that, look, bouncing on the 8, lose the 8 a little bit, but hey, not even really ever, right? We never confirm it. Lo and behold, the 20 would have been behind it, right? And hey, just look at this thing, right? All that we've been doing is as things start to go on the daily and you can't use your moving average as much, like the only educated line I can really draw is probably that roughly 50% candle. Look, a drop from 18 to 14 would actually not be very good, right? It would still be incredibly bullish. We'd still be over 50% candle. We'd still be over all 5 moving averages. You know, good, right? But that's really the only educated line I can draw. But when I look at the 15 minute, all of a sudden I can draw this line. right? I can draw that. I can say, and you know what? I would actually probably draw it a little lower. I would say I'd be afraid to lose 16 basically, because that'll get me under the 8 and the 20 and make me fall. Hey, if we can stay over 16, we can keep going. I can even probably draw another educated line right there, right? Roughly half of that big candle. And all of a sudden on the daily, I'm drawing these two extra lines that I never would have drawn before, right? So that's just kind of playing with the timelines to adjust. Look, this thing is actually bullish over as low as $14.30. All right, a drop to 14 would be horrible. It would be horrible. I would be so sad waking up to that, right? So that's the importance here, right? If, and I'm gonna just click because I don't actually know the number. Oops, no, don't move the line. What did we close at today? Oh, duh, it's right there. If this thing goes over 1890, we continue all-time highs. There are no educated lines I can draw. I have no reason to tell you it's going to stop at 22, 25. I can't even click any higher. Right now I'm starting to get into this little thing. So all I can tell you is if we break 1890, all-time highs. Obviously, there's a little bit of a wick that went higher than that. I don't care about the wick. I just care about that close line in the candle, right? Otherwise, we might fall as far as 1430. Watch that. If we lose 1430, it will be a very fast fall to 11. All right? Do not lose 14. These two lines are just kind of our like peg ways down. I would not trust the lower time frames after that. I think from there, that's just too much green to red in my book, right? But again, all-time highs is a good thing. This is what staying, all we have done is bounced on the 8 and the 20. The 8 lost it right here, the 20 held it. 8 and 20 together, held it together, bouncing on the 8. Those are not confirmation. Round 2 right there, right? Again, when the weekly is over them all and the daily is over them all, that's a lovely thing. Add the monthly to it and my, right? So look, this company, I'm not here to say deserves it, it should be this and that. All I know is technically this is what should and did happen. And the last thing I talk about, the exclamation point, it's all been volume. Since that 26 caught my eye, since it broke, held, and was getting ready to go, we've pretty much lived at or have been above the 50-day line. So when you're over all the moving averages and you're getting good volume, what are you gonna do but go up? You know what I mean? So I'll probably do this one as a knowledge center. I think this was a real nice couple things that I don't normally talk about. This is for sure repeatable. Believe me, if you missed it, don't worry. There are plenty of random 3 to 5 letter stocks that will do this again. All you need to know is to get ready for it. You know what I mean? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. I want to come in at GRRR, and this is a nice setup right here, all right? I believe this is where the first comment came, if I had to guess. 16th. Was that it? Nope, it was right here on the 13th, all right? So you can see GRRR. I wanted to make a video. I even said sorry. I was supposed to do it, but didn't. But since the 13th, this has been on the radar, and you can see that was basically the day after the monster pop right here, right? So I believe a breakdown of the news is here. It looks like it was earnings. It had good earnings, some nice earnings per share. And again, when you get fundamental news that's complemented by nice technicals, and that is what I see here, it's a lovely thing, right? So, and look, what was the story here? Look at this thing, right? The story here was the 100 moving average, and I think this is a decent view. We've gotten over it before, and that was within the year, right? And we actually have stayed over it for what, 1, 2, 3 months of the year, right? But if you look at that entire window, there's only 2 back-to-back good candles. right? That's a great one. That's a red. That doesn't count, right? From there, a bunch of reds down. That's a good one. That's a doji. That don't count right there, right? That's an all right one. That don't count. That's our one good one. And then a whole mess of nothing before we fall under it, right? So it's interesting to see it live over the 100 moving average line on the daily for 3 months, but that's one of the ugliest live over the lines that I've seen. And it actually does make sense that once it lost it up here at 7, and obviously there was a reverse split, but nonetheless it's the same percentage, right? Once it lost it up here, it fell all the way down there and pretty hard, right? So again, I say it all the time, and I'm telling you, I've never seen it in a 3 month window on the daily, but there's a significant difference between being over a line and breaking a line. And I think this just screams it right there. And hey, another good reason this is a knowledge center tag right here, all right? From there, I mean, look, you hear me say it all the time. And let me take a step back before I say the next thing, all right? I hate reverse splits. And a reverse split from 5 something to 2 something fall, it's a 50% loss. That makes a lot of sense to me, all right? One thing I say roughly, it's not really a rule I have, but it's just this little back pocket thought. A reverse split's kind of bad for about 3 months. It almost lingers like an earnings. And you can see, and it took a little more than 3 months, but after a while you start to forget about that reverse split. It's a little further. I'm zoomed in right here, right? And you can see that 1 for 10 is not actually even in the view, right? This is actually a pretty good view on a stock. So it naturally falls out of the window and it naturally falls out of the mind, all right? The other thing that happens, and like I said, if you're going to go from 5 to 2, you're going to have a bunch of red, 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 red. And all of a sudden, what are you seeing? A bunch of green, 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 okay? I think the lovely part was when you broke the 50 down here and had the channel all the way up there to the 100, right? It wasn't the fastest move, but hey, it just rode the 8 like it could and got all the way up there. And then hey, lo and behold, it's now basically broken it, and it seems like it wants to come all the way up here, right? And again, I know I mentioned 530. I put the 530 target. If that 375 breaks, you can see 375 was basically right here, right? If you hear me say it all the time, right? You hear me say it on big stocks, little stocks, and everything in the between, and everything in between. Excuse me. Break the 50, and I'm going to expect you to go to the 100. You broke the 50. I expect you to go to the 100. If, capital if, right? I don't know if you're going to do it. I don't have no crystal ball. Where was it? I just saw it. Oh my gosh, I hate when I don't. Right here. Where was it? No, come on. Right here. Duh. Sorry. If, capital if, right? I don't know if you're going to do it, but if you break the 100, I'm expecting you to come to the 200, right? And so far, so good, right? So this has been a nice technical move. I obviously am a little annoyed that we like this thing went to what? Almost 12 million shares, and we're basically living 90% under it down here, right? I'm a little annoyed that we're not looking as good as this big volume pop. But hey, can I zoom in all the way? I can. Let me go one more. Back up, back up. That's the view. Since that big pop, here, we'll do it from here. We've basically been at or over the white line, right? So yeah, we're not doing well comparatively. Yeah, we've definitely lost 90% of it, but we've consistently held this. And before the pop, we were nowhere near doing that, right? So a little bit of a pro and con with this pump and dump. It actually isn't as horrible of a dump, despite the fact that, yeah, it literally was a pump and dump, right? Like you 11x and then lose 90%, right? So I love it. And I think this really highlights the strength of the 8. We haven't even needed to use the 20 yet, right? But it also just highlights red, 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 green, 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 especially when you've got some real nice channels here, right? Taking a look at the weekly real quick. Again, same exact thoughts. You've got break the 8. I'm expecting you to go to the 20. Break the 20. I'm expecting you to go to the 50. A lot of red, 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 red. The first real resistance on the weekly seems to be 5. So maybe $5 will be a little bit of a tough spot. 72 RSI makes me think I think we can still at least go to 5. Maybe even make that kiss of this 530, because you're saying, oh, you're also saying 5. Your open was $4.99. Watch that $5 mark. Watch the $5 mark. We haven't really seen too drastic a drop on the 200. Again, I never pretend to know the math behind these lines, right? But maybe the 200 does come down a little quicker than it has been. It's been a little flat, right? So Maybe that 5 becomes naturally a little bit harder with the 200 dropping there, all right? But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Let's come into RR. Do I still have it? Is that what this was? No, that was a GameStop thing. I know I put it in the Discord up here. So what happened today on RR was this, okay? So NVIDIA Robotics, this is a division of NVIDIA. This is a real confirmed account on Twitter. They actually put a nice post tagging and retweeting something from RR, from Richtech Robotics, all right? You can see, can you see? No, you can't, because this thing says 47 minutes ago instead of the actual time. But this thing, you'll believe me when I show you the volume spike, happened right here, right? You can see this is the entire day today. Today is September 23rd. No volume, no volume, no volume, no volume, no volume, no volume, no volume. The entire day on the 1 minute view until this monster 1 million push. And it was because of this, okay? So that's at least the why, okay? I said a couple things on the Discord. I'm going to still say it here. There are some technical moves, and when the news happened, I mean, this thing was trying to like live in the 80 cents, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even like mid 80s. There is a decent technical move if it can get over the 8 moving average. But yeah, as we sit right now, this thing is under all the moving averages, negative MACD, and not the prettiest of RSI or volume, all right? I think the other thing to remember is, look, this is not an investment. This is not an endorsement. This is just a, hey, check it out, right? It's a cool check it out. And believe me, and you hear me say it all the time, when a big, real, established company mentions or is connected with your little one, and I say your little one with love, believe me, right? I'm not here to insult them. But yeah, NVIDIA and RR, Richtech Robotics, are not on the same level by any means, shape, or form, right? So if you can connect the two, that starts to become an important thing, all right? But for me, nothing matters until we can get over 89 cents. You can see the 8 average is actually sitting at 88 cents today. And realistically, it's probably going to come down tomorrow. I don't know how hard, but maybe even as low as 84. So maybe that can help. What number are you? No, that's too low. What number are you? 85. I'm willing to call 85 the money line. If we can get over 85 cents, I think there's a real good reason to believe we'll come all the way up to like $1.10, maybe even try to wick as high as $1.15. I think there's a real decent chance there. That is a very big and very thick wall, all right? Those individually are 3 hard moving averages. Those 3 together basically stacked right there makes that a very, very thick wall to get over, all right? So I loved this. Believe me, this is something worth getting excited for, but you can't get overly excited. Like, this will get forgotten tomorrow unless there's a bigger connection headline, all right? One thing I joked, and I think I said it early in the video, I don't know if you skipped to this, like, I would be really excited if Jim Cramer ever said, oh, wow, check out this chart reader, dude. I know a lot of people hate him, but whatever, right? Like, that'd be real cool for me. 100%, that dude tweets a bunch, and, like, it's going to get lost in the other ones, and that's only going to do so much, right? So I believe the same with NVIDIA. Like, it's awesome that they mentioned Richtech Robotics. For sure it is, right? They tagged them and everything. That's awesome. It will get lost unless we see more. This is not an endorsement. This is not like SoundHound where they said that they're going to invest, right? Like, there's some AI stuff happening, and AI is a beautiful thing. But yeah, just remember, this is basically saying I can fall as low as 66, maybe even as low as 60 cents flat, right? Otherwise, I got to get over 85 cents, and hopefully I make that run to $1.10, all right? It's a little bit of an interesting risk reward, and I think that doji screams it for sure, right? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so, so much.